So I recently watched ReZero Season 4, and, well, first of all, it was a great season. It lived up to the hype. But as I was watching Season 4, I started to notice a little bit of a theme that I didn't quite pick up on in the earlier seasons, but might be even more obvious in the earlier seasons. And that particular theme is the theme of Subaru's pretense. And what I mean by that is this. I should also give a quick spoiler warning for Season 4. I do talk about one of the main plot twists and plot points in the season, so if you haven't seen it yet, I'd recommend you check out that season first before you come back to the video. And it's worth it, trust me, it's a fantastic season. Our main protagonist makes a lot of claims, a lot of declarations of who he is, of what he's going to do, but when he says these things, does he really believe them? So again, does he really believe what he's saying? No, not really, at least most of the time. And yet, it's his pretense. It is him making these claims. It's through pretending that the pretense becomes a sort of reality. Not quite how he imagined it. Not quite in the way he wanted to do it. But it is through pretending to be the hero that he learns to become the hero, or at least closer to it. It's through every pretense he finds the opportunity to blur the line between the pretense and between reality. On a side note there, Subaru absolutely backhanding Beatrice is like one of the funniest things I've ever seen in such a serious moment. I don't know what the idea was behind adding that, but he's not even trying to stop him or anything. He just knocks her over, a literal child, for no good reason. And it's probably the best scene I think I've ever seen in my life. But anyway, back to the topic. So let's look at an example of him having that second kind of pretense. And then maybe we can see a little bit of the difference between the two. This is pretty obvious at the finale of the season, of part 1, where at the very end, Subaru is pretty much broken. He's given up. He's back to square one. But he keeps hearing these vague mentions, these vague stories of this great hero called Subaru. A name that's familiar to him, but a title that he hasn't ever heard attributed to himself. A hero. Now, he pretends to be one, but it's very clear in this scene that he has never actually believed that. He's never actually tried to do that. He's never believed it possible. All of that wasn't even just pretense, it was all just a lie. And that's the difference. That's the difference in between the beginning of his memory loss, when he first makes his introduction again, and when he introduces himself for the last time. See, the first time, it's not just pretense. It's him escaping, right? It's him pretending to be something he's not. It's him escaping the reality of who he currently is in the moment. But he's only pretending to be a hero so that he doesn't have to deal with the fact that he knows very clearly that he's not. But at the end of the season, we see this strange, honest pretense. Now, he's just as pretending here. Nothing's changed. He hasn't proved anything different. He hasn't changed. He hasn't gained any new power, new weapon, new allies, nothing of the sort. He's still just pretending, but it's different this time. It's different this time because it's honest. He's not pretending to escape. He's not pretending to run away. He's not pretending to just shy away from something or to take the easy way out. He's pretending so that he might do something closer to the right thing. He's pretending so that he might take a step forward. He doesn't know how. He doesn't know where that step's even going to take him exactly. He just knows that he has a reason why. And that's not to run, but it's for the good of someone other than himself. And so he pretends. An honest pretense. And in some way, I mean, we all have to pretend, right? Every single person at some point has seen some kind of pretense. I mean, think of the way you would teach a child how to speak. You don't teach a child how to speak by treating him how he is, right? You know that child has no idea what you're saying. All the words and intelligent speech coming out of your mouth is just a weird jumble of noises and sounds in the baby's ears, and you know that. But if you treat him like that, he'll never understand. He'll never learn. He'll never learn to speak. He'll never understand that you're communicating something to him. But if you treat that child like something he's not, if you speak to him as if he understood when he's very far from being at the stage where he can understand. If you pretend like he's more than he is, it's only then he begins to recognize that there is something here to learn, that there is something here that he can begin to understand. So you pretend to the child. You pretend that he is something greater than he is, so that in the future he might become something like that. And you don't pretend forever. Because at some point, that pretense becomes a reality. At some point, that baby does say his first words. But it starts with you pretending like he understood anything that you said. And I mean, this is beyond just a theme of modern media. This is wisdom that's been known for some time. I mean, think of it, even in other pieces of modern media. Look at Beauty and the Beast. She treats the beast as if he were a man. Maybe falsely hoping, maybe foolishly hoping. I'm not saying you should treat the nearest animal near you as if it were a man, but she treats him as if he were a man, and so a man he becomes. Even so far back as the ancient Greek myths, there's the story of Pygmalion and Galatea. The story is that of a sculptor. He's a sculptor who resigns himself to focusing solely on his craft, and he begins to work on a sculpture of a woman. And he creates a sculpture that's so exceedingly beautiful and intricate, and that he has carved with such devotion and genuine love and time, that he begins to fall in love with his own statue. He sees it as something perfect, as something beautiful, something more than just art. To the point that he starts to bring gifts to the statue. He starts to adorn the statue as if she were a real woman. And again, as in the other stories, he treats her as if she was a real woman, and a real woman she becomes within that story as well. I mean, this idea, this concept, this wisdom is so ancient, even within the Bible. The words of Christ, he says, "Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours." And I think within that last statement is maybe what allows the difference between the false pretense and the true kind to become a little bit more apparent. And this isn't just simply about theology, but prayer in and of itself is predicated upon the idea that you submit to something greater than yourself. And even within these other examples, each time that this pretense becomes some sort of reality is when you submit to something greater than yourself. Even in this case, Subaru only begins to acknowledge his pretense and turn into something closer to reality because that pretense is submitted under love, under something far greater than himself, under his love for the woman before him and her love for him. And that's a common theme within this idea of pretense. Even in Beauty and the Beast, this example here I gave of the Greek myths, again, it's love, right? In the Greek myths, it's even Aphrodite, right? Within the Bible, of course, it's God. And God, again, is love within the biblical text. So again, it's this idea of pretense becoming reality is very deeply predicated on the idea of love, of serving something greater than yourself. When pretense is solely for self-interest, it becomes something more toxic. It becomes just a lie, right? Greed. But when that pretense is given under the guiding hand of something more beautiful and greater than yourself, like love, well, that pretense starts to become reality. It becomes real. Because it is love that makes that real. So I would say do it for love. Do it for something greater than yourself. Do it for someone other than yourself. So I guess this lesson is really, it's not just about ReZero or just one season or a couple of themes from a show that happened to come out today. It's about a deeper answer, a deeper story that's been around for a lot longer than any of us have. And I guess what I'm asking is that maybe we try to explore this deeper story a little bit more in our own lives, in our own ways, little by little. It can even be something as simple as just asking yourself in a certain scenario, what would the kind, compassionate, charitable, loving person do in this scenario? What if instead of me it was that person? What would that person do? And you'll start to see options and ways that you never even recognized before because you weren't thinking this way. You'll start to see opportunities and areas where you can be compassionate, where you can be more loving. And those opportunities never would have presented themselves to you, even if they were there beforehand, if you didn't think this way. And you'll start to find that as you take on these opportunities, as you see them more and act on them more, slowly by slowly, you won't have to pretend anymore. Pretending to be in a better mood than you really are in order to be there for a friend. Pretending to be more compassionate and charitable than you really are in order to be there for someone else. In order to treat others better. Praying to be someone who is that person you wish would be there for you. Pretend to be that person for other people. And you'll find very soon that that pretense is gone. And now it's just you. Because now you are that person that's compassionate, that's charitable. So in the end, I guess all I'm really saying is just start LARPing, bro. You know what I'm saying?